Hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with my co-host, Maddie B. And I want to say, I could be losing my mind, but I think we were talking about protein showing up and getting shoved into every food. So I saw this protein, like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. This is like a callback to the last episode or whenever that was. Unless I made it up and I just dreamed that we were going to talk about this on the show. But, bro, it's like chewing rocks. Like, I don't care how much protein you put in a cereal. I assume it's like, all right, I'll try. Yeah. Someone's like, hey, you want to try this cereal? Yeah, sure. Protein. It's like in everything. If you go for a run in the morning, eat this as like part of a healthy protein. They shove fiber in it. And I'm like, dude, this is like chewing cement. I don't know how anyone would think that this is fresh, number one, because to me, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is like a fluffy, really sweet. I don't even care. I don't really like sweet foods anyway. So I probably couldn't even really eat a bowl of cereal like Cinnamon Toast Crunch these days myself. But like having the protein stuff in there, now and every time I see it, I think I'm like afraid. Because I got a text. It was like, hey, check this out. And it was a bag of Doritos with protein. And I'm like, you know that's going to taste like hard, horrible. Because they must be just taking the whey protein. And they're like, the powder, they're like, yeah, mix that in. Right? Because I don't know what else they could be doing. Like, do they mix it in with the grain? Because you make your own dough and stuff. Because I was talking to people that make their own bread. And I'm thinking, like, you could mix that in, right? Because they sell protein bread. So I'm thinking they just take, like, the powder. I don't know what else it could be. That wouldn't be... Because my fear is... They tell you not to eat processed foods. And so they're like, you know what? We're going to process some more protein into this. It's a win-win. We can keep processing the food and people will eat it because they see protein on the label. And so I wanted to just bring that up, circle it back in, something we've been talking about, something that I see that I'm just baffled by. And I know we have football season coming up. We got the Hall of Fame game. But before we get into that, I also want to hit on some of the AI stuff. So I've been playing around with using AI. I know everyone says they hate it. And then I see like people emailing me and stuff. And I'm like, dude, that's clearly AI. You like didn't even clean it up. You're not using it as a guide. And so since I've been thinking about doing maybe a triathlon as my next step, right? I ran a marathon and I said that would be the farthest distance I would run. But I didn't roll out like doing, I guess it would be an Ironman where you swim 5 miles or something, bike like 100 miles or something, and then run like a marathon, which would be insane. But you got like hours to do it. And they're like, you can take a little break and like eat at the snack booth, like hang out for a bit. I hear people like talking about it. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to start with a small triathlon. But I was curious to see, how do you come up with like a plan for that? And so I said, let me compare like what some of these triathlon websites say to do and like AI, because AI should be able to take like every site and mix it together. And I'm telling you, dude, do not use AI for workout plans. It doesn't know what it's doing. I've tried a couple of different ones, like different people are like, oh, you tried this model or whatever. No. You're like basically arguing with someone about, hey, no, I don't want to do that. Right? They're like, yeah, you should just swim for like an hour one day and then do like a run. And then I'm like, but you probably I want to do like some strength training. And adding that in, it like blew the mind of whatever website it was trying to like pull stuff from, because I read that you should do like heavy weightlifting to offset all of the distance stuff. Like you shouldn't really do high rep lifting, because if you're swimming, your muscles getting all of the endurance training that it needs as you're swimming laps. So you really shouldn't be doing anything over like 10 reps. And so I'm like, how do I do like a whole body routine like twice a week or 3 times a week, even if you mix it up a little bit? And no, it like destroyed their minds. It was like telling me to do box jumps. And I was like, no, I'm already running enough. I don't need to be doing, like, I only want you to tell me a full body like workout based on power. And I'm thinking it's going to tell me to do like squat, maybe deadlift, bench, maybe like some lat pull downs or something. No, it's like, you should do some lunges, do like weighted lunges for like 30 reps. I said, dude, I am training for a triathlon here. You're going to have a man so burnt out that it's going to be insane. And so I wonder how many young athletes are coming up right now that only use AI, right? Because you're coming up. If you're a young kid, you don't know. Your coach will probably give you like a workout plan. But I know a lot of coaches and stuff where if you're not, and you're trying to do multiple sports, coaches are weird about that stuff, right? You probably see it.
Some are. I mean, I think it's hard to.
Is that a shot at you, bro? No, I'm not shooting at you. Don't worry. But I know some people, especially around like basketball and baseball, I would say, are the two big ones. Because with football, I feel like coaches realize you need to take a rest. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's because I like football the most, right? So I look favorably upon it. But I know baseball, everyone's like, you got to throw year round. You got to limit your pitches. Like, you got to throw like whatever, any X amount of pitches every day, or do arm work, like rest and do a cycle full year. Try not to like throw or do like any arm movements, like bowling and like other random crap they try to tell you not to do. And then you have like basketball. It's like, you got to be running and doing your offense all the time, as if they're the same. Like, you can watch a game of basketball and know exactly where players are going in the 90s and like modern day right now. Right? Especially if a team's run like pick and roll. It's like, dude, they could pick this up. They don't need to be running this 365 days a year to remember how to do it. I know people that are basketball fans are going to be like, no, you don't know. It's like, no, I do. Right? You got to put the wrinkles in, and it's up to the coach to kind of see what defense they're in. But for the offense to kind of know what they're doing, you don't need to play year round. You could get your conditioning in any other sport. That's what I'm throwing out there. But my main point before we get into the football stuff is be careful if you're using AI for, I would say, more open-ended like training stuff. It's good if you're asking for like specific, like, hey, how do I do X exercise? Because some of them I was like, what are you telling me to do? Like an L pull-up, which is more like a gymnastic pull-up. It looked like, where the guy was like doing you make the L with your legs out. And I'm like, why would I be doing this, right? I've never seen. I just wanted like a basic weightlifting thing, bro. You're throwing in all kind of crazy stuff that makes no sense. And there was no rhyme or reason. And even like the cycling through, and I get it, maybe they were trying to add in like extra rest. But like, if you're trying to have some flow in your workout plans, you don't want to be jumping from like bench to the squat rack to like some other thing and then like going through a bunch of stuff, especially if you're at a public gym too. Or heck, even like a high school weight room, because they're not going to have like 10 benches lined up. Right?
And everyone just benches.
Yeah, everyone's benching.
There's not many people at the squat rack.
Well, the thing that got me is like, I see some people doing some weird exercises, and I'm wondering like, where did you learn that? And I almost even went over and asked a guy, like, hey, I'm just curious, what are you doing? Because he had like his arms out, and he was like almost doing a tricep press down, but like his arms were like straight, and he was standing there. And I thought, that's just like a weird thing to do in a cable machine. Right? Like a straight arm, like press down. It's just weird. I've never seen anyone do that. Like, right? It would almost like it. I saw maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger do something like that, where you would lay down on your bench and have a dumbbell and use it to like stretch your ribs out. But he surely wasn't standing and doing like some type of whatever. I don't even know what the muscles are on the front of your lats that come up along your ribs. Like, that's the only thing that I could think that he was trying to work out. And I was like, come on, dude. do the heavies. I'm the only one doing like the heavies because I ended up just coming up with my own thing of like I said, squats, bench, the Romanian deadlifts. And then what else did I do? Oh, I did some rows. I pretty much did all free weight stuff and shoulders. And then I tried to, well, I'm still working on the pull-up machine to try to get into doing multiple pull-ups. So I keep throwing that in, using the one where you can like, it helps you up because I see no one using that ever. And I thought that's going to be my goal. No one uses this machine, but I'm going to take advantage and get back to being able to do like 10 pull-ups. We'll see if it happens. I'll bring it. I shouldn't even talk about it on the show in case it doesn't happen. People will be like, how many pull-ups are you doing now? I'll be like, 0. But I've been cutting the weight each time because all you need to be able to do is do like 1 pull-up and then you can try to jump up and hang for a bit and then keep going and keep going. And I haven't really used AI to do nutrition planning. That's the other thing someone asked about. Because once people find out that you're thinking of doing a triathlon, you get all kind of people like asking you about stuff. And it's like, dude, I'm thinking about doing it. I didn't do it yet. So I don't know, but I'll add some more of that at the end of the show. Let's get into the football Hall of Fame game. What did you think, Matt?
I mean, it was great to have football back. Overall, I mean, it's preseason football, so the quality isn't at top tier that you're anticipating. I kind of thought it was interesting. There was a lot of double moves that were being run, like out and ups, hitch and goes, like things like that. And usually those are plays that typically have a little bit more time. They take longer to develop. And I thought with having the younger quarterbacks, it seemed like they were just kind of giving them some opportunities to just take some shots downfield.
And I did like to see that. It was very sloppy. It's like a double-edged sword where everyone was hyping up, oh, the young quarterbacks. Did you see they were like gaming out there? And I thought, you don't know how a quarterback is going to do until about what? Year 5 or so. Unless you get lucky. When did Hurts win his Super Bowl? Like year 2 or something? Or when did Mahomes win his first one? Like they're pretty young. Unless you've got a quarterback that wins a Super Bowl, you're pretty much looking at a Sam Darnold trajectory where it's like, okay, is he going to go ahead and get to the point of being able to take that next step and lead a team? And when he does it with one team and then he does it with the next team, then you start to wonder, is this guy for real or not? And I think like a lot of people tell you like, this guy, he's made it and he's only in year 2. And then I look at Joe Burrow or even Justin Herbert. You hear about these guys, and the Herbert one really annoys me because I don't know what the hell Harbaugh's thinking, where he's like taking pictures with his girlfriend or wife. I don't even know who that person is. She's supposed to be like some kind of singer or something. But did you see that video? They're like on the field having a picnic or something. And I thought, what are you doing? Right.
The funniest comment was like, the rest of the field, the rest of the team in camp, Justin Herbert and his girlfriend making out.
And that's where I think, okay, I'm not sold. Like when Harbaugh finally got it done at Michigan, he doubled down, right? All of that kind of preseason crap he threw out the window. And I know a lot of people associated with the program and like the coverage of it were kind of annoyed because Harbaugh was always doing his like vague questions and trying to like deflect and not doing like the injury reports and things like that correctly. And the depth chart, he would always leave like very vague. And then you go in the NFL and I mean, they focused a lot on JJ in college doing like his meditation. So much that I told you it made the College Football Hall of Fame when I went there. But like this is on a whole different level. Right, like I knew like JJ had a girlfriend and they would always show like at the games or whatever. And I'm like, I don't like that coverage, but that's what the TV network's going to do for whatever reason, you know, show a player's mom for no reason. right? Show his girlfriend for no reason. But like at training camp, on the field, having a picnic or whatever they're doing, insane. And then Harbaugh came out and said that he likes football players, like in the interview. I don't know if you saw that one, because I still get a bunch of Harbaugh stuff recommended to me. It's like, he said something like, if you like football, he's going to like you too. And he's like, people that don't like football kind of say that he wears them down. Like, you know, you always hear that because he's like, because I'm trying to make everyone like football. So he's like constantly talking about football. And he like admits that he gets annoying or whatever. And honestly, I don't even know if it's like a real clip. Because you don't know. With so much social media and AI stuff, I really don't know what's real and what's not anymore in terms of coverage.
Yeah.
Unrelated to sports, I was watching, like, you get on Netflix, they show you the recommendation, like, trailer. It's like, hey, here's like our new top show. I forget what it was. It was like some type of crime show that's trending right now or something in America. And the trailer started playing. And I kid you not, you remember how it used to say, like, on TV, it's like, this is dramatized? They had an AI version of a person telling their side of this crime story. And it was like, this person has been, it didn't say AI, but it was like, this person has been generated to protect the anonymity of the real person. And I thought, this is insane, right? Because at a first glance, like, I'm not paying attention. And I just think that that's a real person talking at first, until I looked up to see, like, what even is this playing? And I was like, wait, are you kidding me? They're using a fake person in this promo for this show? So then I kind of watched a little bit of it, and that was the entire thing. Every time they had a couple of them. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw, I don't even know what it was. Like I said, I can't remember. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't know I was going to bring it up on the show, to be honest. But there were at least two of them. So two different girls that they brought up to talk about some crime thing that happened. And I thought, how much money did that? Because I'm guessing they had like an interview with the person, and then they just ran it through like an AI thing to make them look different and mess their voice up probably. Although it'd be funny if they were so lazy with it where they were like, don't change the audio. The AI avatar is fine. That's going to be your football coverage. Because I saw a couple new sites. Like, was it SB Nation might be shutting down? I could be wrong on that. But there are a couple like fan sites. A lot of these are getting bought out. And they're turning into like AI farm. And it is driving me nuts when I'm trying to do research for the podcast. I don't know if you see this a lot. But I'll say, like, one thing I was looking at was like Penn State ranking. We'll talk about it later in the show. And so I'm like, I need to do some research on like what Penn State is. And it's like, I click on stuff and the articles are like the most AI generated slop that doesn't even make sense. So then I'm finding myself, it's like me fighting with the workout creation tool. Like, dude, I said, no, I only want to like have weights, get box jumps out of here. What are you talking about? And like, why am I doing like other plyometrics and like other hanging stuff in here? Like, what? And then I go into like football and I'm doing the same thing. Like, no, I'm talking about like the actual blue chip ratio on the team right now or whatever. And then I have to like hammer it out to find a result that I need because there's so many fake articles out there. It's insane. And then to top it off, I didn't even tell Matt this, but we got an offer from like Spotify or something where we can now just have AI generate like a personal podcast for our listeners. And so like, what would be the point of that? Like, we wouldn't do anything that'd be like a fake version of us where it could be like, this guy's ranted about Jim Harbaugh again. Go off on it, bro. You're talking about the wing tee. I bet that could get some listeners. Could you imagine having a wing tee podcast that you, well, not you, a computer version of you, they do, but then you could listen to your own podcast and it'd be like listening to an alien version of yourself or a computer version of yourself talk about the wing tee. You can't tell me that you wouldn't at least listen to one episode. I should do it.
I might exhaust it.
I'm going to find the thing and I'm going to ask him to send me a sample on wing tee offense. He'll probably mess it up. It'll be like the Ford Model T, blah, blah, blah. Like go off with some other thing and you'll be like, what did he generate? And I'm like, yeah, that's what it's like arguing or trying to find stats anymore. Because even we were talking about, obviously, Michigan football camp has been going pretty good because I've been getting a lot of Ohio State and Michigan State fans complaining again, where it's like, oh, yeah, they're back to being cheating, right? It's like a totally different coaching staff, all from Utah, a coach not known for cheating at all, actually known for doing things the right way. But he must have the team looking good if the rivals are out throwing like garbage around. And one of the things was like that Harbaugh didn't put any guys in the NFL, so I was curious about that. And I find like all these articles that are telling me about, oh, yeah, there are historical colleges like Notre Dame that have like hundreds of people in the NFL right now. And I'm like, no, they don't. I know they don't. Because I think Alabama has the most, and they're like 60 something, and then Ohio State's right there. I think Michigan's actually fourth right now. LSU might be third. I can't remember. I should actually wrote one of these down. But I thought, oh, Michigan's up there fourth. So what are these Michigan State fans complaining about? That they're not like full of all pros? Like, but Aiden Hutchinson's out there. I know there are more floating around. Just because Tom Brady retired doesn't mean it's like off the hook. But then I look at other schools and it's like, oh yeah, they don't really have anybody. That makes sense. Like, I got it. But I wish there was a quick way, all this AI stuff, that they could just put together a database, kind of like Wikipedia, that would just have all of this information. And it doesn't even have to be through like an AI thing. I think like the NFL could do it. They kind of did it. A couple years ago, we looked into like injury data, and they had it from like 2015 maybe forward. And I was trying to get data on punts and kicks, but it was kind of inconclusive, to be honest, because I thought maybe if the data kind of showed that like a punt might be worth it. But I think the big thing was a lot of punt returns were practically like nothing.
Well, there's a coach that did a pile of research on that, and like he always goes for it on fourth down. And off the top of my head, I can't think of the book, but he did this big research study that if you follow traditional logic where you only have 3 downs, it cuts your chances of converting like drastically, because you're only focused on trying to get first down every 3, as opposed to if you're going to go for it on fourth down every time, you don't have to worry as much about getting as many yards. So you end up with a lot of fourth and shorts that are easier to convert. And it seemed to have worked well for them.
Well, and I know exactly who you're talking about. And so on here, I was thinking more for kick returns, because the kickoff right now is horrible. I don't know if anyone else agrees. It's like so awkward where it's like, all right, we're having the guys stand there and they kind of block each other, and they see that there is an increase in return yards. But I thought, why don't they just, because right now there's no good onside kick. And we've seen it happen a couple of times last year where the team comes out and they're like, we're going to do the onside kick. And then everyone has to get set up for it. So you can't do a surprise. But like if you just switched it to like a punt, it's already in there. It would help a ton of coaches in high school that don't have to do kickoff and punt return coverage, right? You could just do one. And they're doing regular kickoffs anyway. So they didn't even college didn't even switch to the NFL model. But the difference then, when I looked at the data, I have some of it here because I still have it. Years ago, punt returns were about even with kick returns. Like, I'm just picking a random year here, 2002 or 02, whatever. They're all identical. Punt returns were 21.4 yards a punt return, and kick returns were 21.8. And even in 2003, I don't know why the hell I'm reading it like that. Chalk it up to CTE like Antonio Brown. You have punts actually getting returned for 22.5 yards, and kick returns for 21.6. As punters got better over the past like 10, 20 years now with like extra weight training and stuff like that, punt returns have been dropping off, where in like 2019, punt returns were only 12.9 yards per return. Almost in half. They got cut in half. Last year, even it was back up a little bit to 15.5. And so with that new kickoff returns have gone up a little bit. They're at like 25.9 last year. So I feel like it's going to be hard for the NFL to switch because punts have been getting, I don't know, like the strategy behind punts, kicking it high, letting the coverage get down there, and the guy fair catches it, which is what happens most of the time. And that's just as boring as a dude running 10 yards into like a bunch of guys that are just standing there hugging. And so I don't know what they could do to fix it. Because my only thought was, like, to your point, if it's 4th and 10, or however they do it, where you have an untimed down and you have to get to whatever, the 30-yard line, whatever they decide, like you're at the 30, you have to get to like the 40 or whatever, wherever they would punt from. The punter could just throw the ball, or heck, you could just always have your punter there and have your, like, well, I don't know if you'd want your quarterback on punt returns ready to get blown up, but you could have like the backup quarterback stand beside him, or like a wide receiver that always played like quarterback or something at all times, just as like a, hey, you know, we could fake this right on your face so that you're ready. At least add a little bit of excitement. Because in college, you get the punters that run. We don't really see that in the NFL, right?
Not as much. I was actually thinking about this. I'm surprised that more NFL teams don't opt for the free kick.
And that's for a field goal, though, right?
Well, yeah, but it's if you fair catch it, if you fair catch a punt, you can declare for a free kick as long as it's like from that spot where it was fair caught at. And for as strong legged as some of these kickers are, like you would think that they would field a punt near midfield and would just go, all right, free kick. And there's no rush, and they can just smoke it through the upright.
Yeah, but isn't that only worth 3 points still?
It is, but with no rush, and you could pretty much, I would think the NFL kickers would probably drill it through there.
Yeah, but then you have to kick off to their team then. I think most teams are thinking that they can get 7.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I'm just thinking from an NFL standpoint. Like, I'm surprised that you don't see that more often.
Going through my brain right now, I think there could be some scenarios. Let's say you're down 3 and there's like 5 minutes left in the game and you fair catch one because you got him pinned deep. You catch it around like the 50 or something. Yeah, do a kick to tie the game and then kick off knowing that your defense just smothered them and that you can get the ball back. And in theory, if the same thing happened where you got a sack or whatever and then they had to punt again, you could probably do back-to-backs to win it. But that would be so outside the box that if you blew it, then the questions at the interview are going to be what, awkward?
Oh yeah, but I think like with those, or I would even think like early on, if you're struggling to move the ball, you're like, you know what, let's just free kick one. Like, what's it hurt? Just get some points on the board, and I mean, I know a lot of teams, like if you get the ball close to midfield, you're thinking statistically that you can drive down and kick it closer, but then you're dealing with a kick rush as well.
Can you do that in college?
You can do it everywhere. There was a high school team last year that did it, which had made me think of it.
You should contact James Franklin. I saw him once kick a field goal down 28-0 to Michigan in the third. So he could take the points.
You're saying they didn't shut him out?
No. It was, I forget what it was. That was one of the Jabril Pepper years. You know, he made an impact. But I would say that...
But he didn't play. Huh?
Whenever he could play, yeah. But if you had a team that was just getting crushed and they went in with a free kick and just got a field goal and then celebrated like they won the Super Bowl, that would be hilarious. Because I oh no, it's cracking me up. I don't know how else they could make it better, to be honest. But I'm going to wrap it up here. I don't like the new kickoff rules. Maybe I'd get used to it, but how many were even returned for like a touchdown? Right?
Not many, but I almost feel like that was the design. And I kind of use this comparison with the youth league that I'm coaching right now, where the kickoff is spaced out at 15 yards, and there's not many kids that can really punt third and fourth grade that can kick off and have it land consistently deeper than 15, 20 yards. So it ends up being a spot where you're doing it to introduce it, and it's also like it's minimizing a lot of the rundown smash and type hits that you would typically see. And I think the NFL, this is one of those things that they can make a stance with it and say, look, we're all about player safety. Look at how we're minimizing the collisions on kickoff. They're not running the old wedge buster. We're not doing all these things. Like there's a liability aspect to it that I think they're looking at it, that does it take away from some explosive plays? Yes. But when you're constantly the face of everyone's CTE and it's the worst sport ever, like it's an easy thing to point to and go, here are some aspects of the game that have changed that are now allowing you to have some player safety and minimize some big hits.
And so I'm looking for the return. I brought up AI results being garbage. I asked how many, like instant search, how many NFL kickoff returns for touchdowns last year. And it was like, we've seen an increase in kickoff returns because of the new rule. It's like, no, how many touchdowns? Because that's like the most explosive. Remember like Devin Hester, bro? He could like just turn it on and score touchdowns on kickoff and actually turn the game around. But going through, like looking at some of the history here, it's really not that much of a difference. There's not that many touchdowns that were returned for kickoffs anyway. I think you have to go back. They're saying that just like punts, where punts have gotten so good based on coaching that you're seeing a decrease since like 2010 is what that AI result said. And if I go back to 2010, even 2009 or whatever when this came up, Cribbs had 3 touchdowns himself. There was only 5 total last year, 6 total last year. So there is a big difference in explosive kickoffs that actually have gone downhill because kickers are now spending time and being better at like aiming it to a place that minimizes how you can return it for a touchdown. And it's a bummer, and I don't know what the NFL can do to make that better, because the new ones obviously aren't getting touchdowns like you used to be able to get in the mid 2000s or whatever that would be called. And it's not like the players aren't fast anymore, right? I don't think there's anyone flipping through the years here, the last couple of years, that have had multiple kickoff touchdowns. That's crazy to me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Desmond Howard, didn't he win a Super Bowl MVP returning him for the Packers that one year? That's why he got it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Didn't he return that one right after halftime or something? Crazy. That would never happen now. Like, they'd have a heart attack if a guy in a Super Bowl returned a kickoff for a touchdown. Or did it happen last year? It probably happened. I just forgot. I don't think it did, though. But now we got some real games starting. Fantasy's going to be picking back up. I know I went hard on fantasy last week. Is there anything else you want to talk about NFL-wise before we move on?
The only other NFL, and it does go back to some of that fantasy football, is I saw that they had that tool for preparing for your fantasy draft. And I was doing some tinkering with it just to see like how the practice draft would work. And it did seem like a pretty decent format, that it very much followed the way that our auction style draft worked, where the first couple bids were like, if you weren't cautious on how much you were bidding, it would like jump from 10 to 35 to $55 right off the bat.
So what you're saying is we should have members try that to get practice in before the big day?
No, because I don't think it would help them. But I did think it was just from as many risks and stuff that I think the simulations have issues with. That was one that I thought was kind of interesting, to be honest.
Well, that's the one thing too, that I wonder how much these people are putting into the daily fantasy stuff. Because you got to think, like, as I brought up some examples last week or whenever that was, of how you could easily, I don't want to say fix some of these leagues, but how you could change on a dime. There are stories about like how people have put in like 10 different plays each week, or you have analytics tell you the top biggest players, and then you're able to win repeatedly so much that they tell people that are winning, like, you can't play anymore, right? They don't advertise that happens. But trust me, it's happened. I know that it happens. And so you have that case coming where it's like, oh, guess what? You won, but you can't cash out anymore or whatever. And then the laws change now where I think they have to let you cash out, but then they just don't let you, they don't have to let you play anymore. And I think there's going to be another tipping point coming where you have players that are gambling, and they went back to that Otani gambling thing. And did you see that update on that story?
No.
So I think they had the bookie or someone come out and say like, oh yeah, he was betting like millions of dollars and we were worried about him. And I was thinking, okay, because he's like, I know he doesn't have anywhere near that money, but you're letting him bet because you didn't think it was him. Obviously. Right? They're making it seem like this fall guy just had millions of dollars that he was able to just kind of fly around on a whim, and no one noticed, Matt. Please, this guy, horrible guy is what they're making him out to be. But yeah, he just had millions of dollars. Could you imagine if you just went in and were like, yeah, I have a couple millions of dollars, I'm going to make some bets here, see what hits, and then what? They pay out? Like, they're going to investigate you, right? There had to be some real capital behind it that they let him keep betting, is what I don't understand. And they could just admit that, yeah, some dudes are caught gambling, like they complained about that Sorsby guy from Cincinnati. But remember the guy from Oklahoma last year that had Venmo bet gambling things, whatever, before the Michigan game? And everyone was like, oh, never mind, like he's just joking, right? But now this year, because they have another investigation going into him, same thing, years ago, betting, but it was at a bigger scale. He bet on his team. That's like the thing. They're like, he bet on his team. He wasn't betting on USC and UCLA like that other guy, right? Bet on your own team. You're going to be in trouble, mister. That goes against the integrity of the game. Brought to you by Fantasy Draft Pros, dog. Or whatever, like they have the ads for, like some, they all kind of sound the same. But it's like, that's what I'm supposed to believe. I'm supposed to believe that there's gambling stuff everywhere, but yet none of these guys are even into it or like give their family hints. Right? It's like that Kalishi, like where you can bet on anything. I think it's how you pronounce it. Oh yeah, bet on everything. And it's like the government's like fixing it. And they're betting on themselves. So you're telling me players don't do that? Right? It's insane. There has to be something that comes to a head where something's going to change on that. I did find one other thing that I had written down here because I brought up a couple weeks ago where it was that Packers thing that the ESPN was running with as possibly getting out of their share model, where it says right now they have 5.2 million shares. But it says that people are giving them scrutiny because NFL team values are rising. So it's telling the Packers they can't raise money because they're private. They're not privately owned or whatever. And so, are they really trying to limit it? Because they can sell shares without losing control, right? You can just have another guy come in as like a minority owner. Like, didn't the Raiders do that with Tom Brady? And then you don't lose control of the team. He's just there hanging out, putting money in. And they're trying to figure out if there's a way for Green Bay to do that. And they're saying that it could dissolve, but it would be sold to an expansion franchise. And I'm like, they're going to get rid of the Packers completely? Like, if most of the people in Green Bay are owners, there's no way they're going to be able to get the buyout from those people unless there's some type of compensation for the stockholders, right? Because some people own like hundreds or thousands of stocks, I would imagine, from back in the day that goes through with their family. There's going to be like, oh, never mind, we're just going to not have Green Bay Packers anymore. And that's where I think if this happened, this would be the tipping point of reaching that expansion thing where it's like, all right, let's go with it. And then that's it. Because I know there's some heat from the NBA right now because the Hurricanes owner, I think he owns Portland, the Trailblazers maybe. And they're saying that he's trying to pressure them into getting like a new stadium. And he's using like the thing saying like, I could just move them over to Raleigh with the Hurricanes. We just won the championship there. As like a hostage thing, which would be hilarious because it's not like the Hornets have ever done anything. And have the Trailblazers ever won in our lifetime? I don't even think so, right? There's only a handful of teams. So it would be hilarious if they moved him to Raleigh and then won an NBA championship. Because he's like, I'm going all in. Everyone hates me. And there's like a protest against him. Like, this guy's horrible. And I'm like, I'm not an NBA guy. So I watched, if they brought a team down here, I would support it, right? Local. It's so much easier to cheer for a local team. And I've said that, like, it's hard whenever you move away to stay, other than college, because you have a connection, right? You don't have a connection to these billionaire owners. You just don't, right? They're like getting massages, getting pulled over, like doing all kind of weird stuff. And you're like, but I'm going to keep buying jerseys from that guy, right? Let's make sure his kids are taken care of. Because I like our football team, right? Even though I never go to any games because I live on the other side. It's like, okay, that's crazy to me. Crazy. So there's no confirmed buyout or sale. There is smoke coming because they're saying that the other owners in the NFL could spend the Packers into oblivion. That's what the leaked stuff or whatever says, according to Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. But again, okay, I wonder if it's becoming on the heels of the MLB stuff, where the owners and a lot of the media, dude, like this media guy from Pro Football Talk, dude, he's just getting stuff fed to him like Adam Schefter, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm just going to tweet whatever the owner tells me to write. And he's just basically doing press releases all day. And that's why I'm like honestly shocked that people follow him on Twitter. Because there's no difference between following him versus just following your team feed. They announce the same crap, dude. It's like the exact same.
Got some heat for delaying the news on the car crash.
Did he get some heat for that?
There was a little bit because he kind of like wait with everything else. The information comes out so fast, and
well, I said something was weird about that. He's changed his story a couple times. Did you see that?
Well, yeah, and it felt like the release of it was like, not a big deal. Like they kind of just brushed it under the rug. It was like in the media circuit and out so fast.
Well, it's like the same thing I saw where it said that it reminds me of the Matt Miller thing. I keep bringing that up because the timing doesn't make sense. And then they never clarified it. And I didn't see any follow up on what happened. Like what, the guy is going to probably just lose his job and that's it. Where Shanahan was like, he said he was using autopilot on his car, right? So then the car, I'm guessing it was like a Tesla, but they're really aggressive of trying to prove that their systems don't cause accidents. So then Shanahan's like last statement said something like, he turned around and he might have like bumped the wheel. Cause you know how like you can take over. Cause at first he said he just dropped his phone and he reached down and grabbed it, which made sense because they said he almost lost an eye. Then the story was it fell behind the seat. So he turned around and maybe bumped the wheel. And I was like, well, what? So you're facing backwards, dude? Which eye did you almost lose? Right? Because how would that?
Favorite eye.
Yeah, I want to see like a reenactment at this point because the story doesn't make sense. I want to see like one of those crime shows. They could even do an AI version of him where it's like I said, they blur the face, like make it just like another skinny man that's like has an eye patch on. He's like, I looked for my phone behind the seat and bam, I must have bumped the steering wheel. He's like, I don't know what happened. And so then I was thinking like, was he doing something bad? Right? Like what else is he covering for? What else was there? Why wasn't there like an entire thing? Why wasn't it announced like immediately that he could lose an eye and he needed prayers? Because they made it seem like he wrecked, got out, no big deal, waited for like his family or something, and then went. I'm like, so
yeah,
did he almost lose an eye? I don't know. I hope he didn't. Well, I mean, I guess he didn't. We would have saw it.
You'll notice whenever he has an eye patch.
So, I don't know. It's crazy that some of the media stuff, and it goes back to the baseball, which is why I'm trying to get into that. They control the information, and you have these old baseball guys that get paid to basically just say whatever the team wants them to say. And even with AI, it's probably so much easier for them just to like, hey, make up a story based on this. And then they just touch it up. But those guys, they're going to say whatever the owners want them to say. They don't want a salary cap. When the salary cap's the only thing that would save baseball, and it's saving like the Packers or whatever right now. Like why would the Packers need any more funds? That story makes no sense because they get so much billions from the television networks. What other fundraising funds do they need? For a stadium? Because realistically, they could just raise prices or whatever. And then like, yeah, if Packers weren't selling out or weren't doing like XYZ, not selling merch, right? And maybe they split it with the other teams. I don't know. But there should still be enough kickback where the only thing they should be worried about is making enough money from that stuff to pay payroll. That's it. Right? There's no other overhead other than like stadium costs or whatever. So as long as they're making enough money to cover all that stuff, what are they raising funds for? It makes no sense. It's almost like the owners are getting mad that states now are fighting back and not wanting to help pay for stadiums and things like that. And so they're like lashing out saying like, we could take away the Packers. And it's like, okay, what are you trying to get like support from Wisconsin? I really don't know what they're trying to do there. It's the same thing with the baseball. Do people want the Dodgers to just keep getting everybody? And they keep pointing back to like, well, remember when the Yankees were really good and they had everybody? It's like no one liked that. Everyone banded together to cheer for the Red Sox. Do you guys not remember? Right? They cheer for like the Marlins or whatever other random team can go up against the Giants. And that's where like, and I don't mean the San Francisco Giants. I mean like the big two spenders or whatever, like the Mets and the Yankees. And everyone keeps saying, well, the Mets show you that you can't just spend and win. No, you kind of need to have a competent owner. You can't just keep spending right into oblivion. But it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter because all these other younger teams and small city teams and stuff, doesn't matter if they bring like a team to Raleigh or whatever, I'd support them. But you know that if your team isn't going to compete, it's never going to reach that level. I brought up the Hurricanes. Something was off with the old owner. They brought in the new one. Everyone hates him because guess what? He's spending, he's smart about it, and he's winning. Everyone hates a winner, right? They're all jealous. I don't know anything else about the guy, but if he wants to bring in and wants to hold like Portland hostage and come over here and because he's getting great support from the community, the Hurricanes parade was like one of the highest attended NHL ones of all time. Okay, that's support there. Like I said, for the Packers, I know they get support. So there's no way that like the regular support from the team or whatever, they can't keep with the TV network contracts or whatever, which I think is what the salary cap's based off. They're good. They're good. They don't need a big owner to go in there. This obsession with having like owners and stuff is so crazy to me that I don't get it. I don't get it. And now it's coming to college football. Last topic. Did you see the patches that are coming? Did we talk about this? Where like Ohio State announced like their patch deal for whatever bank. And then the next day, Notre Dame announced that theirs was higher so that they could like put out and say like, we made the most from our patch. And I thought, horrible. Right? Because you're just getting close to having that craziness. The only thing that would really crack me up is if Michigan got a Walmart patch, just because like all the Michigan State fans call us the Walmart Wolverines. It would blow their mind, bro. If we had like a big sponsor deal and the jerseys just said Walmart on them. I would literally buy a jersey. That'd be my legit first jersey that I bought in a long time. Like I'm here for the Walmart Wolverine jersey. Classic. Just because it would drive people nuts. Like no one, okay, you get a bank sponsoring your team. Awesome. Put it on the jersey. Okay. Is it really making that much of a difference? You already have so many sponsorships on everything else. And that's why with the NIL stuff and having private equity and teams are trying to get just like random businesses to just own their team. It's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me. But we're almost done with the offseason. We got some things coming up. They put out the coaches poll. We talked about it a little bit. And now I'm seeing some of the AP voters put out like their polls. And the one thing, and I know a lot of people listening to this show from Pennsylvania, I don't understand the Penn State hype. I was trying to find it. I talked about it with the AI stuff. They lost a lot of their team with James Franklin. James Franklin, yeah, he choked in big games, but he's a pretty good coach, right? How many big games is Virginia Tech playing? For them to not even be in consideration for someone to come in and be like, oh, I'm definitely going to rank Penn State high, but like we're not going to have anything with Virginia Tech, even though their coach has a history of being ranked better than Iowa State's coach. And he has like whatever else coming with him, all his players and the recruiting and everything. Because if you look at, 2026 football recruiting, it's not like Penn State was recruiting like gangbusters. And he brought in a bunch of transfers from Iowa State of all teams. So I just don't really see how someone could look at that and say, you know what? This team's going to be a legit top 10 contender. Penn State's recruiting ranking last year, 65. No 5 stars. Or is this for this year? No, this is from last year because they had like nobody in their class. No 5 stars, 4 stars, and 11 3 stars. And I know stars don't really matter. But I don't see how anyone can look at that Penn State haul. Heck, Iowa State even finished higher than them. and say, oh man, this guy really got it going. That's close to a top 10 ranking. Virginia Tech finished 31st in recruiting because of Big Game James, baby. He's up there. He had 8 4-stars. And that's on the same shelf where he was shortened. And that's why I'm like, I'm really cranked. Like, my mind is blown because of all the recruits and stuff. And the one thing that I keep seeing is that, like, oh, Penn State probably going to be finishing better than Michigan. And I'm like, this Michigan team from a recruiting level is pretty loaded compared to a lot of the teams that are around, like, ranked 15th. Whittingham has had Utah finish around ranking like 15 for, decades now? Without having a team anywhere near that recruiting ranking. Let's see what Utah's was last year while I'm in here. So Whittingham would have been at Utah, and what did he have? 39, baby. 1 4-star. And Utah was close to making the playoffs last year. I don't remember what they ended up, but they're one of the teams. Whittingham's first class at Michigan, 12 or 11 if you're looking at the composite. Is this the composite? I don't know which one's which. We'll say 12. 2 5-stars, 11 4-stars, dude. I don't care. Having a team that's not even in the top 10 with 2 5-stars is kind of baffling, right? Probably because of the transition period. And I think Michigan only signed 24 commits. Like, Georgia's ahead of them with only 1 5-star, and they signed 32 though. So even A&M, like, it looks like it was just over-signing for some of these other schools to be ahead of Michigan. But I don't understand. Do people not watch the football or, like, look at the rosters when they're voting? I know they don't. Right? Nothing against Matt Campbell.
No. Oh my God, for years we've said that.
But nothing against Matt Campbell, right, dude? I don't understand how, and I'll throw your Florida State in there. Florida State finished 17th in the recruiting rankings. They're nowhere near this coach's pool. Just like Virginia Tech. And I know Florida State had a bad year and they had all their other stuff. But to me, Penn State had a bad year, lost their entire team because they fired Franklin in the middle of the year and they let it go for months. And they were missing on coaches. And they hired a coach that couldn't bring in his whole team like Signetti did. He didn't bring his whole team in. And even the ones he did, it wasn't like they were gangbusters. So I really just don't see, and there's no offense to Penn State, I really just don't see how Penn State and Michigan are anywhere close. And I really don't see how teams like, I know USC's been recruiting high, and even LSU, they still have the same turnover. Maybe it's Bryce, right? Maybe people just don't trust Underwood. But again, he was a true freshman last year. I think he was like only 19. There's a good chance that he takes 2 jumps this year, and then next year will be his like typical big game jump where he's able to kind of play in. Because remember, Joe Burrow, he transferred from Ohio State. He wasn't even sniffing the field. Some of those other Alabama guys were floating around, like Hurts, dude, right? Didn't he transfer to Oklahoma after a bit?
Yeah.
So you have...
But he won a natty first.
Well, then they bench him for Tua?
Yeah. Well, he got hurt.
And then you have like what? Quinn Ewers, transfer from Ohio State again. Dante Moore, he transferred from somewhere, I think, right? He wasn't at Oregon the whole time, was he? He almost came back. Ohio State won the national championship with the transfer quarterback. So you have a lot of teams that have these quarterbacks in place that it takes them a few years to transfer and get coached up. I really don't know why they're so down on him when he was playing for a coach. And remember, Michigan was 9-3 last year in the regular season. Very easily could have made the playoffs with a coach that got fired for texting in the locker room to OnlyFans models at halftime on the work phone or whatever. right? That was confirmed. I don't understand. Like, it's not like you can be like, he was really coached up. Coach was really locked in there, right? So, of course, I see everything coming out of camp, and I get pumped up. And I might be buying in a little too much. Because there's always a team that's like ranked in the middle that you're kind of wondering like, oh, will this be the year? Right? Will this be the year? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Underwood is just going to be horrible. And all the hype and everything dies. And you see what happens. But I just don't know how you can have a team that has great talent like that. Right? Multiple 5 stars. Across classes too, with you not even counting Bryce. You still have multiple 5 stars on the roster. Whittingham has never had that. If Matt Campbell was coming into last year's Penn State team, I still would have been on them having a great chance of winning the national championship. Like I said, there's no chance that I'm discounting Matt Campbell here. I think he's coming in and doing a very tough job. Maybe their schedule's easier than Michigan. Michigan's playing Oklahoma. So Michigan's playing, 4 top 10 teams or something? Like the schedule is kind of loaded. I want to say Michigan's playing Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, and Oklahoma. You win 2 of those games, I think you're playoff bound. Even if you go like 9-3, you have 2 top 10 wins. I think it's going to be really tough. Depending on how it shakes out, right? You don't know how many other teams they're going to have. And doesn't the SEC play 3 or 9 conference games this year too?
Yeah.
So they're not going to have the inflated win numbers like they normally have. They're going to have 1 or half more loss like everybody else because the extra in-conference game. So I'm not saying that I'm not buying the hype for some of these teams, but some of them, I just don't know. Like when you have a team that's like ranked for disappointment, why not just put them in the mid 15s? Because like even Utah's ranked 21. Michigan took a lot of their best players as transfers. I don't know what that ranking is based on. Like I really don't know why. No offense to Utah, I really don't know why Utah would be ranked 21. Michigan took their best assistants and everything. But you don't have Virginia Tech ranked. And it's not even on their minds, dude. Let's see if they even have how many votes they have. Virginia Tech had 12 votes. 12. Missouri, trending down. Oh, they're ranked for some reason. Right, got to get one more SEC team in there. Florida, receiving votes, new coach. We don't know how he's going to be. He's been talking a lot, though. Right, Illinois, they've been pretty solid with Bielema not ranked. Trying to think who else isn't ranked here. Oh, Pitt's not on here. Maybe Florida State's not on here. Like I said, you have Georgia Tech's not on here. Their quarterback, I know he played. He won that game for Carolina, the Hall of Fame game. So that's it. But I think that's all I had for this week. Anything else you want to talk about?
We've got heat acclimation starting right now in Pennsylvania, so this is a big week to start getting back into the swing of things and getting ready for fall camp next week.
Nice. You have to keep us posted as you go in there. Now, do you have to get acclimated for the heat as well?
Yes, because there's a lot of kids that just lay in the house and play video games, so we have to say, hey, this is outside. And
so you're not used to being outside either, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm used to being outside.
So you don't have to be acclimated, or you do? I want to know if you're wearing like a sweatsuit and you're really trying to run with the kids, get in shape. This is your time to shine.
I rock my sweatshirt.
You can get back to school, get a glow going, get in shape, and they're like, oh, here's his post camp glow up. Right? Or looks maxing or whatever you want to do. Get your looks maxing in, bro. You could drop a good 10 pounds running in the heat with the kids.
That's what I'm hoping for.
You beat them in a race, you should make them run extra. I took the coach's training. You're allowed to do that. You just can't tickle them.
No tickling. We did not have the tickling training.
You didn't.
So maybe we're allowed to. Maybe we're allowed to tickle.
Tickle one time, and then you'll have the training. Once you have the incident, I'll forward the training to them and say, "Hey, you guys should probably have covered this beforehand, because that's an embarrassment that you wouldn't have had happen otherwise." But yeah, let's see. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I don't think I missed anything, did I?
That's it.
All right. Well, we got football starting up. Let me know what your strategy is for fantasy if you're listening to the show. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.